Okay, we are live. Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing Crysis Remastered on the RX 570, RX 580, GTX 1050 Ti, GTX 1650 Super and GTX 750 Ti. So once this live stream is over, you'll be able to skip to any part that you want. There will be timestamps in the description, so you can skip to the graphics card that you want to see. First, thanks to Crytek for providing a copy of the game. So they provided a copy, so thank you very much. I'm going to post this on Instagram so you guys can join me. YouTube just sent me an email saying, hey, you're live streaming. Yeah, thanks YouTube. Completely useful information. Alright. So let's mute my phone so I can have some fun. Hello guys, how's it going? ¿Cómo andan? Yo también los amo. ¿Todo bien? ¿Cómo va? How's it going, guys? Nice seeing you. Okay, people are just joining, so hello everyone. I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing Crysis Remastered on 570, 580, 1650 Super, 1050 Ti, and 750 Ti. So I'm not going to watch the next City Wire. I'm really not interested. I already know enough about Cyberpunk, so I prefer to just go blind and find it out by myself when I play the game, honestly. So well, first of all, let me show you the options menu because it's very interesting. There is the usual resolution like in the first game. It's the same menu, but it has more options. And you can even select the frequency of the display, which on the first game that wasn't the case. So that had a lot of issues for me on the first title. And here in the advanced options, you got textures, objects, shadows, physics, shaders, ray tracing quality, which in this case, ray tracing quality, it seems to include reflections and the Savogi thing, which is the ray traced global illumination. I'm not sure if it's bundled in this option or if it's in the shaders. I'm not sure, probably it's bundled in here. This is software ray tracing. Then this doesn't require an RTX card. And then you got volumetric effects, game effects, post-processing, which for some reason always puts itself in custom. Pretty weird. Particles, water quality, and vegetation. And it goes from low to can it run Crysis, so it has that option. The meme option is here. The option that kills computers is here. We're going to try it out later. First, I want to keep it on high. The object's quality especially, I'll keep it on high. That's usually what destroyed the frame rate in the first game on the CPU side, because you cannot change this in game. You have to go back to the main menu and jump back into the game for it to take effect. So yeah, let's start on high settings, then we'll put it on can it run Crysis, and we're going to try to get to the most demanding area, which is the second mission. So we have to start the game from the beginning. So yeah, I'll make sure to get to the demanding place before anything else. So we start a new game on easy because I want to speed run through it, basically, to get to the part that is important. But yeah, can it run Crysis? Yeah, probably. But I like that meme. Está demasiado optimizado. 1800 FPS. ¡Wow! Yeah, too optimized. No puedo hacer juego 4K, va a explotar la PC. Yeah, I'm not going to try 4K yet, because the PC will explode, basically. But yeah, we're going to try on high settings first. Let's set a standard. But yeah, it's the X11, which is interesting. I was expecting Vulkan or the X12. So yeah, pretty interesting. Hopefully the game didn't crash. That wouldn't be a good start. You want to see it explode? Okay, fair enough. Oh, I also put textures on high because with 4 gig cards, it maxes out the video memory usage. So I'm going to skip everything. Okay.
See you guys at the LZ.
So, oh, I have the cursor on the screen. Let me pause the game. Okay, no more cursor, so there's a bug already. The cursor will stay on the screen, so just pause the game and go back in. There's night vision, alright, everything's okay. At the moment, we are over 30 just fine, but this is high settings, so we are two presets below the maximum. So maximum settings is probably going to be super demanding.
By 5, we're on our own.
No card could achieve 30 FPS in Can It Run Crysis. Well, not at 4K resolution, but if you play at 1080p, probably you can. They said, specifically Crytek said, at 4K,
Keep it together, kid.
no card can run it at 30 frames on Can It Run Crysis. So that's 4K. So if you're not playing at 4K, it should be fine. Okay, there are some weird stutters here and there.
What's your status?
But yeah, under the water,
okay,
we drop
I'm
below
okay.
30
But my HUD's
sometimes.
scrambled.
Not sure
What the
what's
hell
up with
was
that.
I don't know, but you missed the LZ. Make
But
your
yeah.
way to the beach.
I mean, there's some stutter going on. Not sure what's up with that.
You guys are all over the place. Check in.
Alright.
Down and on the move.
So yeah, as you can see, there are some reflections here. Some seem to be screen space.
Visual feed from your unit.
But those are tied to the ray tracing quality option. I tried out this level already.
Prophet, I've made it to the beach.
But yeah.
You hit the water pretty
Oh,
hard.
one thing I forgot to
Some of your
mention.
functions are offline.
These are the new nanosuit controls. So the nanosuit controls are when you hold the wheel, you could select to be invisible, to run faster. Well, you have that option in the menu to play it like OG Crysis, the classic nanosuit mode, which will give you the classic
Still no word from
wheel.
Aztec.
Personally, I prefer the more modern option that is similar to Crysis 2. So you just press E and you're invisible, you press Q, you are in
Check your objectives display.
shielded mode. So yeah, but those stutters, I'm not sure what's up with that. That's super weird. Probably tied to the ray tracing stuff, I don't know. But we're going to test it more later. Right now, first impressions. High settings seems to be 30 frames, and this is not the most demanding place, so the gods of PC gaming should help us.
Make sure your
Yeah,
silencer's attached.
let's get to the daytime part. Will be more interesting. This is just the prologue. So yeah, let's rush through it. What I don't like so far about this is that the stutters. There's some stutters every once in a while. So yeah, that's not good. I mean, it's fine if we get 30 frames, whatever. But I want it to be consistent, at the very least. That's all I ask for. Consistent performance. Alright, let's get a reflex sight, silencer, no flashlight. Okay, now it's a little bit better. Probably once we get to more vegetated places, it's going to get much worse.
Give a sit rep. Something took a swipe at me on the way down.
Whoa, below 30, okay.
Okay, Aztec.
Okay, I wasn't expecting this at all. Already here, close to the vegetation, we're getting below 30 frames. Let me see if I can fix that by lowering the ray tracing, because we're using ray tracing. So let's lower ray tracing to performance. Let's see if that changes anything. Okay, so lowering ray tracing to performance from high, we still get ray tracing, but we jump into the 30s instead of being in the mid 20s. So definitely something to keep in mind. But yeah, we're still dropping below 30 when we're looking at a lot of vegetation. We're going to play with that more later, but it's probably going to be a mix between medium and high. So yeah, not looking good. Turn ray tracing off for sure, I think. Yeah, the thing, if you turn off ray tracing, I think there are no reflections.
What have you got, Aztec?
But I'm waiting for the daytime part,
Have you been compromised?
so we can have a more of an idea on what the options do to trick the game properly. Okay, let's try to advance. Speedrun mode.
Aztec, talk to me.
GG Crysis, GG, yeah, basically.
Aztec, sound off now.
Yeah, I think that ray tracing in this case is not going to be worth it with this card. Let's lower the shadows. Let's see if that helps in any way whatsoever. So we're going to lower shadows to medium. So we jump from 27 to 31. And let's lower the vegetation to medium. Okay, that didn't change much, so let's keep it on high. Shaders also made a huge difference on the other Crysis games, so let's try that on medium. Okay, it's taking a while to change, so... Okay, whoa. Okay, putting shaders on medium made a huge performance difference, but there's no ray tracing, so that explains it. So let's put it on high with ray tracing on performance mode, and let's keep it like that. So we'll adjust shadows a little bit. Alright, so yeah, ray tracing is the issue, which was to be expected. Yeah, definitely you get double the performance. So let's put it on high with ray tracing off, and then in the more demanding parts we'll enable it. So yeah, that's pretty okay, I would say. So height settings, no ray tracing. Let's change it to that. In the status, no RT. So yeah, we were using ray tracing, so excuse me, it kinda makes sense. So we keep it on high settings, so without any ray tracing. Hopefully that doesn't get rid of any of the reflections. But yeah, I mean, the difference is significant. Heavenly Commandment? What? What does that even mean? But yeah, even without ray tracing we're into the 30s, but the game looks very good. You're probably not going to be able to tell due to the stream, but I think that the game looks very good, especially the shading under the trees and the vegetation. Not sure if Svogi, which is the global illumination, is working with the ray tracing disabled. We're about to find out. But yeah, let's run this way. But yeah, I mean, significantly faster without ray tracing to be expected.
Nomad, move out to the LZ.
Got it, boss.
Hold on, I'm seeing movement ahead. Switch to cloak mode.
Let's destroy them all. Remember, I'm playing on easy mode to get quickly through the environment, because I want to get to the second mission, where there are a couple tanks. That's usually what destroyed my PC in the first game. Destroyed my PC in a way that it ran terribly bad, because there were a lot of destructible environments going on. So yeah, let's keep it going.
Copy, Prophet. I'm on it.
Alright. Maybe stuttering because of the new implementation? Nah, not really. I don't think that's it. Just think about it. I turned off ray tracing and the stutters were pretty much gone. Now only when saving the game we get those problems. So I think it's just a ray tracing thing, because it's software ray tracing. But yeah, this was one of the places where I had issues in the first game, first time around. But yeah, here it seems to be okay. Let's enable ray tracing and see how it stacks up. So looking into the distance, this is not the most demanding area. I'll let you know. Let's put ray tracing on performance. Let's see what happens. Okay, definitely with ray tracing enabled. Okay, we drop into 32 instead of 44. But we get the Spogy thing, which is the global illumination thing. I definitely saw a difference with these rocks. Yeah, overall. But yeah, it's a huge performance hit. We dropped from the 40s to the upper 20s. Let me see if reflections stay when I disable ray tracing. So I disable ray tracing and let's see if the reflections stay. Yeah, there are still reflections. So I think it's fine. Yeah, not as good of a shading between rocks and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think the game still looks good. The color palette is significantly different. It's such a colorful game now. The other one was like a more of a grayish type of deal. So that's an interesting design choice that they decided. The game is much more colorful. Yeah, it reminds me of Far Cry 1. Super colorful jungle game. But yeah, I'll try now to crank it up to very high, except in the draw distance. So we put it on very high without ray tracing. Thank you. So yeah, this is now very high. Very high, so we enable this. Very high, but no ray tracing again. Ray tracing is super taxing on this game. It's going to take a few seconds. Excuse me. Subhodip Das, thank you for the 40 Indian rupees, highly appreciated. He says that my graphics setting videos are lifesavers. Well, thank you very much. I tried to do it to help you guys out. So yeah, we're on very high settings. Thank you for the donation once again, highly appreciated. So ray tracing off, everything else on very high, and objects quality is on high because, well, on very high usually destroyed my PC in the first game. We're going to change it later, but yeah. So on very high, what are we getting? Okay, we're getting 18 frames per second. Oh, I forgot about something. I forgot to lower the texture quality. So let's put it on high, the textures. I forgot that textures on more than high use way more than 4 gigabytes. So don't make my mistake. Keep textures on high on Crysis Remastered. Let's see if that fixes the performance. But yeah, 18 frames per second. Yeah, it's still on 18 frames per second. Okay, fair enough, I guess. Oh, ray tracing is enabled. Never mind. Let's see if now... Okay, now it makes more sense. For some reason, when I changed everything to very high, ray tracing also stayed on very high, which was weird. I turned it off. So yeah, we're now on very high. No ray tracing. Textures on high. And that's about it. So we're now getting 30 frames. So yeah, that makes much more sense. So yeah, this is a very high settings, but no ray tracing. Let's see if we can hold 30 throughout. Probably not. But hey, at least if you don't care about ray tracing on your non-ray tracing card, you can do it. But yeah, the game looks so different with this colorful palette. It's super weird. I'm so used to the grayness of the original Crysis and the muted greens, and this is so colorful now. I always love trying to destroy those palm trees. Ammo low. Let's change to the other weapon. Let's be smart. Another one down. We're still in the 30s, but yeah, definitely the stutters seems to be when the ray tracing is enabled. Without any ray tracing whatsoever, the stutters are basically gone. Let me save the progress. Oh, there's no... Oh man. There's no saving anywhere, like on the previous game. This is going to suck. Because I cannot select whatever moment I want and replay it, so that's pretty unfortunate. It's going to make testing more difficult. You cannot save in any point. It only has autosave. What the hell? What the hell, Crytek? Where are my manual saves? What a weird decision. It will be if the graphics card doesn't have enough though. Yeah, if you go over the VRAM usage on your maximum, you're basically screwed. So make sure to keep it easy on that, on the textures. If you have 4 gigs, just use high textures and you'll be okay. The CPU performance improved, multi-threading. So far I didn't get to a super CPU demanding place. That's where I'm trying to go at the moment. But yeah, as long as you don't use ray tracing, it should be okay. Now we're into the upper 20s. Those volumetrics, beautiful. But yeah, no big deal. Let's keep going. Let's get them all. I mean, guys, remember that this is not the most demanding level by a long shot. There's a place in the second level where you will be against many enemies on a place that has a lot of destructible places. So yeah, but I'm very disappointed about this, that you cannot save anywhere like on the previous game. In the previous game you could just pause the game, save, and keep as many saves as you want, so super weird choice, which makes what's the name of this? The benchmarking more difficult. Vaya.
Get to the rendezvous, but
¿Dónde
be
puedo comprar el
advised,
juego? Está en la
enemy forces
Epic Game
are
Store.
targeting
Es exclusivo de Epic, lamentablemente, por ahora. As I was saying, guys, in Spanish, you can find this game on the Epic Game Store. Unfortunately, at the moment, it's an Epic exclusive. So I don't know when it's coming to Steam or if it's coming to Steam in any way. So yeah, if you want to play the game right now, it's on the Epic Game Store. So yeah. Alright. Let's keep it going. Whoa! I forgot about that. Alright. Gotcha. But yeah, I don't like that I cannot save whenever I want, like on the original game. But yeah, now we can run Crysis. In these more foliage heavy areas, it's so much more demanding. I mean, it drops into the upper 20s, mid 20s, when there are many trees on screen. I'm still not sure if the Zavogi thing, the global illumination, is working. I mean, look at this. Let me see if I can improve the frame rate here by lowering 1 or 2 settings. Let's see. The vegetation, let's lower it to high. Okay, nothing happened. Let's keep it like it was. Shaders on high. Okay, if I put shaders on high, it's taking a little bit of time. Okay, by lowering the shaders from very high to high, we jump from 25 to 30. Let's try shadows as well. Okay, lowering shadows, we got 1 extra frame, no big deal. Let's see volumetrics. That did nothing. In game effects, nothing. Particles, nothing. Okay. So shadows and shaders. Oh, post-processing, let's see that. If I put it on high. Yeah. Okay. So the biggest differences that you can find are lowering shadows, object quality, and ray tracing. If you put shaders on medium, there is no ray tracing option whatsoever. And we're probably losing this Vogue thing. So yeah, not sure what's up with that. But yeah, now we're getting 30 frames just fine. Alright, fair enough. Let's now try it on low settings, because why not? Let's see if the game looks bad on low. So we're going to put it on low with high textures. So we're going to put it on low settings with high shadows, with high textures. So let's try it on low settings. Yes, you can enable ray tracing on the 570 because this is software ray tracing. It's a proprietary technology from Crytek. So they can do ray tracing without the hardware required. So it uses GPU for the ray tracing technique. So it doesn't require dedicated hardware to do so, but it's a very demanding option. And as you can see, lowering everything to low takes a while. So give it some time, it's loading the assets. Okay. So let's see if it applied the settings. So we are now on low settings, textures on high. Thank you very much. Jesus, this options menu sometimes. But yeah, the option is low, high textures. Let's see how better it can run and how different it looks. Probably it looks way better than the original game on low settings. That's not very hard to do nowadays, I guess. But yeah, it will be interesting to see. Yeah, I'll try all medium later. Give me a few minutes because it takes time to load the textures again. That's the thing with this options menu. Pretty unfortunate. Can you scare the 1050 Ti with current Crysis mode? Yes, I will try that too, but first I need to wait for the game to finish loading the assets. So there we go. So low settings, high textures. Alright. I mean, the game still looks good.
Men down! Men down!
I mean, it looks worse, yeah, less soft. But I mean, let me see if there are still decent shadows from your own character. Yeah, I mean, look at this shadow quality. This is low settings. What the heck? How weird. I mean, it looks significantly worse, don't get me wrong, in comparison to significantly worse. Some things look significantly worse in low settings, but they still look good. I mean, you still have reflections. Of course, these reflections are not filtered at all, but they're still there. What a weird choice. And yeah, and the trees at the distance are not shaded whatsoever, so that's a big difference. But yeah, the close shadows to the camera look good. And there's a lot of vegetation anyways, yeah. Oh man, it still drops into the 30s, what the heck? What a weird thing. I'm confused. I'm so confused. Okay. Yeah, I probably need to restart the game. Let me do that, guys, and I'll try it again. Maybe some things require the game to restart. But yeah, that's not looking good at all. I'm trying to find out if the global illumination, this bogey thing, is always on or not. Because on the Nintendo Switch version, I played it on the Nintendo Switch like a couple months ago, I think. There was this bogey thing on the Nintendo Switch, I mean, which was the global illumination thing. And I'm not sure if even on low settings that thing is running all the time.
With CryEngine.
So that's something I need to know first. So for some reason the game always starts with a native resolution. So let's go for 1080p like before. Low settings. Okay, everything on low. Great. And let's jump back into the campaign. So we continue. Let's see if it changes. If it changes, well, you now know. Probably some things require a restart. But yeah, those drops into the 30s in low settings made no sense to me. Something was definitely wrong there. Sí, está corriendo muy mal. Pero vamos a ver ahora con la recarga cómo va. Your GPU limited. Yeah. I know, but if I lower the settings, there should be less vegetation. That's what doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I understand I'm GPU bound, but I don't get why lowering the settings to low from very high, when looking at foliage, it was basically the same. I mean, on very high, looking at water, well, we were into the 30s anyways, but when I look into the foliage, it was into the mid-20s. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the vegetation just wrecks the GPU, no matter the setting, apparently. So yeah, I'm super confused, but yeah, it's probably this bogey thing, because there's still a lot of depth in the scene. I mean, look at this thing right here.
Oh man, I'm reading a lot of enemy activity close to your position. Keep a low profile.
Once we get to a place with, I don't know, what's the name of this? Whoa. A place with a close environment, something like a destructible building or something like that, I'm going to be able to tell, but there seems to be still some of the bogey going on. This bogey is the global illumination thing. That is also on the Nintendo Switch. Oh yeah, it seems to be that. Let me grab some extra guns. And yeah, those stutters are very annoying. Not sure what's up with the performance here. Super strange. But yeah, definitely I think it's, especially because when we close to the foliage it happens. It seems to be that no matter what setting you choose, there's a bogey going on. So that's an interesting choice. That makes the game look good even on low settings, but when you get close to foliage it wrecks the GPU. I mean, it would be good if there's an option to disable it, at the very least. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a good looking effect. I guess Crytek just go with the saying, hey, if you don't like how it runs here, just play the original version, it's the same game. I don't know. Maybe they are onto that. I don't know. But yeah, strange decision, I have to say. I don't get it. Maybe the artistic choice of the game requires this bogey to be running at all times. Again, weird choice. Weird choice to not let us disable it. But again, if you don't like how it runs, you still have the original Crysis. That is the same as this one. Much less GPU intensive, but on the CPU side, well, you're kind of screwed. So yeah, again, strange decisions. I probably don't understand it because I'm not a developer, but I'm a consumer, so... weird. On the lower end GPUs, they are going to suffer. That's for sure. So yeah, I guess it doesn't matter if you're low or high. The game is still going to have some issues when you're going to the foliage. So let's try now medium settings. I'm going to restart the game to make sure everything is going as expected. So thanks for bearing with me, trying to make the game work properly. But yeah. Are sounds new here? They feel heavier than I remember. Yes, the sounds are different. I can assure you that. I played both games very close together. The guns sound more meaty, to say it in some way. They are like more aggressive in the sound, at least in my opinion for what I played. Maybe the new GPU driver update not so optimized. Let me check if... I'll check in a bit if there's a new driver. I downloaded the latest one on both Nvidia and AMD, so we're going to try that out. But yeah, 1 second guys. Going to put again textures on high, everything else on medium. So yeah, that takes a few seconds, so I apologize. Takes a little bit longer to load the new textures. Did you play with the 1650 Super? Not yet. Not yet. I'm doing the 570, then I'll swap to the 580, then 1650 Super, then 1050 Ti, and then 750 Ti. Hopefully it can even run the game. We're about to find out. But yeah. Alright, come on game. Finish loading those textures. Wonder if having the texture set higher somehow messes up the settings and forces some settings to run higher than they should. That's a good point. I'll try lowering textures as well. That would be interesting. But yeah, with medium settings, high textures, yeah, still 30 frames. Huh, interesting. But yeah, let's try lowering textures, like you said. Maybe there's a huge performance boost there. You never know. Sometimes there are settings buried into only one option. Is my 570 overclocked? No, no overclock at all. Unpopular opinion, it doesn't even look that good. Well, I mean, it looks different, that's for sure. But they're using a different approach to the visuals. Vegetation did seem pretty high for low settings. Yeah, that's what surprised me, that the vegetation looks very good in low settings. So maybe, like you said, the textures maybe make a difference, because the trees maybe have a relation, the leaves there, the vegetation with the texture quality. So if that's the case, that's a great discovery. It's not only video memory related. But yeah, let's find out. Okay. Nah, basically the same on medium textures. So yeah, apparently no effect at all when moving very fast with the trees here. Seems to be basically the same. So yeah, probably the best settings are a mix of medium and high with no ray tracing. But yeah, how interesting. Anyways, somebody said, oh, lower the anti-aliasing. This is SMAA. This is not even demanding whatsoever. Let's try TAA. TAA usually blurs things up. Okay, never mind. TAA looks very good in this game. It looks much better than SMAA by a long shot. Huh, interesting. Yeah, TAA is definitely the anti-aliasing option that you should choose on this one. Yeah, the game looks super clear, which is weird. Usually on TAA games look soft, so interesting. And I'm seeing that it's not using all the cores, it's using 2. So another weird choice. But hey, who am I to judge? Yeah, I think that the bigger issue here is the SVOGI. Apparently you cannot disable it. The SVOGI, again, the global illumination solution. That's why the trees look dark here and the grass does as well. The occlusion there is correct. And I'm not sure if you can actually disable it. It's even on the Nintendo Switch version, so that's why I suspect that the game forces that on you. Hence the performance hit even on low settings. But yeah, it doesn't seem to matter if I crank it up too high. So let's try first cranking up those shadows to high. Let's see if it changes anything. So we're at 38 frames. We jump from 38 to 34, so no big deal. Physics, let's put them on high. That makes us stay at 34. That's going to change when the game starts working. Volumetrics, let's put them on high. 34, we jump to 34. Game effects on high, still the same. Post-processing on high. Okay, we lose a couple frames with cranking up post-processing. Particles, this won't work until I put the game. Water, high, let's see if this changes anything. Nothing. Vegetation, doesn't seem to do anything at all. Maybe it's the draw distance of the vegetation or the shadows on the vegetation, I don't know. Okay, so I cranked up a lot of things to high. I know that shaders, if I put it on high, it's going to be a big performance hit. So that's probably the most demanding option along with the ray tracing. Okay, we jump to 46. I'm confused. This doesn't make sense at all. Okay. What the heck? Okay, I'm super confused now. What the heck, Crysis? I don't get it. What's going on? I increased the settings and got better frame rates. What the heck? This makes no sense. Can you guys explain to me what's going on? I mean, you saw that live. The game now looks better and runs better? I'm so confused. Okay, there's something going on, definitely. Something is not right with the options menu. So let's stick to the presets and not do manual tweaking, because there's something wrong going on. Definitely something is weird here. Something doesn't add up. Maybe it's the motion blur, I don't know. No, it wasn't. Okay, let me enable ray tracing and disable it. Yeah, even with ray tracing on performance, now I get 30 frames. Okay, okay. Okay. I'll calm down, I breathe. I put shaders on low. Let's see if that does anything at all. Okay, so with shaders on low we get 60s here. What the hell?
Energy critical.
Alright. So definitely something was wrong with the options menu before. So let's put shadows on low, shaders on low, and what else? And post-processing on low. Probably those are the most useful options. Let's see what I'm saying? Now we're getting lower frame rates and I decreased the settings. Something is broken. There's definitely something broken with the shaders option. I'll put it on high like before. When I swapped to high on shaders, I got better performance. Yeah, look at that. I put shaders on high and I get double the frame rate. What the heck? This is so ridiculous. Okay, okay, I'll play that game, Crysis. I'll play that game. So we're going to put post-processing on low, shadows on low, no ray tracing and shaders on high. For some reason this thing makes the game run at 60. 50 to 60. But yeah, something is definitely broken here with the options menu. But yeah, let's keep it like broke the game. But yeah, what a weird thing. But yeah, something is definitely broken. Okay, this wasn't what I was trying to do. Yeah, on easy mode the game is definitely easy, so keep that in mind. But yeah, let's try the something ridiculous. Let's put everything on kind of run Crysis, except in ray tracing and shader quality. So we're going to put everything except in textures, objects, and these two options on kind of run Crysis. Volumetrics for some reason doesn't go that high. Huh, interesting. Okay. Let's not upgrade those settings. Let's try that again. So ray tracing off, shaders on high. For some reason this gives us enough frame rates. Physics on kind of run Crysis, shadows on kind of run Crysis. Volumetrics doesn't go that high, but we max it out. Particles on kind of run Crysis. This as well. Let's apply it. Alright. So as long as I don't touch the other options, I get over 30 frames on kind of run Crysis. Apparently. So yeah, the ray tracing seems to be what breaks this game. But yeah, interesting. And now let's try to bug things out. We grab the shaders quality and we lower it. This should give us better frame rates, right? Let's see. It's probably going to run worse now. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't make sense again. What a weird thing. Yeah, this options menu is borked. Beyond broken. Thanks Crytek for the review copy of the game, but your options menu is broken at the moment. Something is not right. Anyways. Let's put this on gonna run Crysis, this on gonna run Crysis. Boom. Okay, time to break the 570. I put the game on kind of run Crysis. And as you can see, if you max it out, you're in the 20s. Sorry, in the 15 FPS range. And yeah, you can see that there's more accurate shading going on, especially around these close environments. But yeah, this is how the game is meant to be played. At 10 frames per second with looking at foliage. So let's see if we can make it playable from here. So we're going to put shaders on high, since for some reason that's a magical option that when we put it on high the game runs better. And we put ray tracing on performance like normal people. Okay, so if you want 30 frames per second on the 570, put it on 1080p, TAA, and on the advanced settings put everything except in textures and objects on medium. No, put everything on kind of run Crysis except in ray tracing, put that on performance, shaders on high, medium objects, medium textures, and the rest of the things on kind of run Crysis or the highest. And there you should get 30 frames, basically. I mean, you're seeing it with your own eyes. Although I'll turn off ray tracing to get more consistent 30 frames per second. And then if you want 60s, just do medium to high settings without ray tracing. And it should be okay. Oh man, what a weird options menu. So weird. Anyways. No ray tracing. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, without ray tracing you're into the 40s, so don't put it on Can You Run Crysis, it's just a meme. Use high settings, play with the shader option a little bit, disable ray tracing, and you're basically over 50, at least in this first level. We need to keep going to the second mission. But yeah, let's put it on the best settings. So we go to high, 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 high. Physics on high, shadows on high. No ray tracing. Okay, now it runs the same. So we lower shaders. See, now I cannot get it to 60 again. That's how broken the options menu is. Okay, now we're getting 60s. How? Let's see if I fixed it. Okay, now the options menu seems to be fixed. I think that the problem is when you select presets. So yeah, is a live stream dead? Let me know. Anyways, so I think that as long as you do not use the preset options here, you should be okay. So manually change each option. When I do not use the presets here, the game runs well, to say it in some way. So do not use the presets. Touch each individual option, please. So yeah, this is high settings with shaders on low. That seems to be the sweet spot. Because for some reason it breaks the settings. So that's a good finding. I'm going to report it to Crytek on an email detailing the issues with the options menu, because this is ridiculous. People that don't know what they're doing are going to select the presets and that's about it. So yeah, you've been testing this game, Benchart. How are you doing, man? Long time no see. But yeah, definitely that's how you make the game run correctly. Tweak each option separately, do not use the presets, and it should be okay. What the heck? You should be dead now. Okay, I'm dead, finally. I died. You have been testing the game, so how's it been for you? Benchart, you said you tested the game. What has been your experience so far? Oh, a grenade. Oh yeah, definitely, guys, do not use the presets if you want the game to run as it should. Something is definitely iffy about the presets, the options menu. We're probably going to find out more about this if more people run into it. Oh yeah, such a weird problem. Medium settings and ray tracing 1080p 60 pretty much on this GPU, on the 570 or something else. Also, this might be an issue only on AMD cards, I don't know, I still have to test the NVIDIA GPUs. As you can see, I just do not care, because I'm on easy mode, trying to advance to the second mission. But yeah, I'm probably going to crank up textures to high, just to make sure I take advantage of the video memory I have. So let's put this on high. It's going to take a few seconds. In the meantime, minimum 16 cutscenes of Aztec hanging on the tree with the 1650 Super. Okay, fair enough. Makes sense. Makes sense. How about GTX 1650 at 39100F, 16 gigabytes? Can I get 60 on high settings? I'm not sure. We're about to find out. but doesn't seem to use all the cores though. It seems to be using 2 or 3. So we're about to find out. But yeah, quad-core CPU should be okay. But again, I need to do more testing. But yeah, I knew this was going to take some time, but man, I wasn't expecting those options menu issues. Alright, yeah, again it's bugged. Now I drop into 30 frames. I was at 60s. So yeah, something weird is happening here. Let's let's do the same trick, put shaders on high and then put it on low. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, it worked. It worked. Yeah, the shaders option is broken. So if you're getting bad numbers on Crysis Remastered, put shaders on high, then put it on low, and you should have the correct performance. It's so weird. Such a weird bug. But it's super interesting that can happen. I usually, everything I touch I break, so as you can see I broke this game, the options menu, even after restarts. So yeah, I found a trick to get more frames. So yeah guys, definitely if something is iffy with the options menu like you saw on my experience, do not use the presets. Manually change each option, and if everything fails, put shaders on high, then lower them to the setting that you want, and that should be the correct performance. I know it's ridiculous, but you saw it with your own eyes. I mean, you saw it with me here on YouTube.
Check those terminals. See if you can access them.
I'm super impressed that I discovered this right now. It's super weird.
Now.
But I mean, the game still looks decent.
Good work, Nomad.
But it has no ray tracing, so when you put shaders on medium or low, you do not have a ray tracing option. So yeah, super weird. But again, happy to know that there are some bugs here and there that we know about. Because if not, I would have said, hey, this game is unoptimized, but doesn't seem to be the case. Even on low settings it looks good. The thing is that it doesn't change that much if you are, the performance I mean, if you lower it too low. By using a mix between medium and high, you already get good visuals and similar performance. So yeah.
You're approaching a line of KPA defenses. Use grenades to blast your way through.
Let's use grenades. Let's get through this checkpoint. Alright. Anybody else? No? Okay.
No, man. Get to the rendezvous ASAP. There's something here you need to see.
What have you got, Prophet?
Just get up here. You
Come
wouldn't
on.
believe me if I told you.
On my way.
Oh man, I want to explode that barrel, but there's no way for me to reach it from here. Again, we're trying to get to the demanding level, which should be the next one after this, where you battle against 2 tanks. So we're going to try that out. That's why I'm playing on easy mode, because I'm trying to get there quickly. But I wasn't expecting that options menu wreckage to send in some way. But yeah, what a weird thing. Okay, now we're not getting 60s, a lot of foliage apparently. Let's try the usual trick. Let's see let's see if putting shaders on high and then on low fixes the issue. So let's do this magic trick. Maybe it doesn't work this time, who knows. Okay, this time it didn't work, so makes sense. So yeah, maybe if I lower it to medium, we can get 60s even on foliage heavy areas. But yeah, this time the magic trick didn't work. Sorry about that, guys. But hey, better than nothing, I guess. Let's keep going. Once I get to the next level, I'll swap to the 580 because I cannot be here all day. I wish I could. But there's no... It's not realistic, and I have to make some videos as well.
Come on, move!
Did you see it? Where'd it go?
This way, come on, move!
Let's move. ¿Ya jugaste con la décima DPI? No, todavía no. Queda para después. So guys, the other GPUs are going to be tested later. I'm only one GPU in, so be patient. I'm trying my best. Let's move. Remember when this game was extremely demanding? Yeah, I remember. It's been a while. It's been like 13 years, old man. Okay, finally we got to the second mission. This was the mission I wanted to get to because it's more of a demanding thing. Yeah, no ray tracing because there is software ray tracing that works on any GPU as long as it's compatible with the game, I guess. So you can enable ray tracing without an RTX card, which is interesting, but it's a huge performance hit. So yeah, hope stable 60 later on this game. Yeah, it depends. I mean, I played this, it's funny to say it, but I played this on a Nintendo Switch when it came out. And this level here, when I was using a scope, 20 frames per second, no matter what I did. So this is the level where there are two tanks attacking you. I'm going to use that as a reference because there's destruction, so physics, there's effects, there's enemies, there's basically everything. So I think it's a good way to test it out. The thing I don't like about this one so far, I cannot save anywhere I want, like on the first game. So that's pretty disappointing. Oh dear. Anyways.
Damn, nothing but bodies. Area looks clear. Move in on that trailer.
Keep going. Once I get to the checkpoint, I'll swap to the 580, probably. Oh dear. Nobody here. Oh, I have to go that way. Sorry guys, I'm distracted. I'm trying to advance, but there's AI that needs my help.
K. Pierre holding a civilian hostage in the village about a click ahead. Could be one of Rosenthal's crew. Nomad, I need you to infiltrate the village and gather any intel.
Yeah, I'll infiltrate the village. No issues. While that guy talks to me, I'll destroy this building. Alright, checkpoint reached. Awesome. So let's see what the checkpoint is. Let's get to the village. Whatever. We can get there very quickly, at the very least.
Oh, it's slow. Intel suggests snipers and armored patrols up ahead. I'm moving out to secure a rendezvous location. I'll keep you briefed. Nomad, I'll take the high ground. Confirm when you're inside the village.
I'll get them. Okay. Whoa! I screwed up. I'll swap to the 580 now. Funny way to start the checkpoint in a destroyed building. Anyways, let's swap to the 580 now. I'm going to enable ray tracing just to have some fun before doing that change. Yeah, shaders now is on custom. I don't know what the game is doing with the options menu. Super weird. Alright. As long as you keep shaders on high, you should be able to put ray tracing at least on performance to get some sort of ray tracing going. So yeah, any card can do ray tracing. Yeah, on high is unplayable. Cinematic 25 FPS. So yeah, maybe if you want 30 frames with some drops into the mid-20s, consider high shaders, ray tracing on performance. But yeah, there's some stutter. I think that ray tracing in this case is not worth it.
Engaged.
I mean, yeah, the game looks better. But if you don't enable it first and you don't see how it is, I don't think you'll tell much of a difference. Honestly. But yeah, those stutters, that's probably due to the ray tracing and this and the physics broke. Yeah. for some reason. Yeah. The game forgot I destroyed the building. Anyways. But yeah, what I do not like about the ray tracing here is that that there are some stutters when getting to certain parts that didn't happen without ray tracing, as you can see there. Those stutters are super annoying. I mean, ray tracing is great, don't get me wrong, but at least we can enable it even without an RTX card. So this is the software ray tracing Crytek was boasting about the other day. So yeah, interesting choice. But yeah, let's swap to the 580 now. I think I had enough. Let's lower it to 720p. Just to see the difference in performance. Okay, if you want ray tracing at 720p, you should be fine. Remember, this is ray tracing on a card that does not support hardware ray tracing. Yeah, you can do it. As you can see, even at 720p, ray tracing on very high is super demanding. Let's put it on high. Let's see what happens. I don't even know how the Nvidia cards are going to work with this ray tracing solution. The non-RTX cards, I mean. But yeah. Anyways. Let's try the shader option change trick. Let's see if it works this time. We're going to put it now on high and this on high. And let's see if we still get 30 frames like before. But yeah, the issue seems to be the ray tracing, definitely. Yeah, a little bit better. Still 40 frames. Yeah, the ray tracing is basically the culprit for all the issues I've been having. So yeah, if you don't have an RTX card, maybe disable it or lower the resolution if you care about that. But yeah. What with the textures on high, but ray tracing might add some VRAM consumption too. Yeah, that's true. The ray tracing probably adds much more VRAM usage. So yeah, let's now swap to the 580. So let's turn off the PC. Bye-bye PC. And we're going to swap to the 580. Give me 1 second, guys. 580. And the rest will make itself, basically. So I'm here. Hello, guys. I'm swapping the graphics card. So okay, here's the 570. I just tested the 4GB version. And here's the 580. I have the triple fan Asus version, 8-pin connector, as you can see. I will put the clocks that dual fan cards have, so you can have a reference on how it runs. So I can show you the performance even if we buy the single or dual fan versions of the 580. It should be basically the same. Same GPU, same frequency, same everything. But yeah, for some reason the triple fan version in my country was the same price as the dual fan version. So yeah, it's a great 580, super cool, literally cool. I mean, because 3 fans, huge. Yeah, here's the box, if you care about that. But yeah, from the get-go you get a higher frequency, but I'm going to lower the frequency to something like the dual fan cards have, so you can see the real performance. But yeah, is this live? Yes, we are live. We are live right now. I'm swapping from the 570 to the 580. And then let me show you, I have the 1050 Ti here to test later. The 750 Ti for the end of the stream, because who doesn't love a 700 Gen GPU? And here's the 1650 Super. So yeah, we're going to test all that stuff. And yeah, there's audio lag. I apologize, but I cannot do anything about it at the moment. So yeah, I'm now putting the drivers. So 1 second guys, I need to do some tweaks to make this work with my capture card. Super annoying, but hey, it is what it is. That's what happens when you try to do everything on a live stream. Alright. So, okay, yeah, there's ray trace lights in my back. So, okay guys, I'm going to show you now. I put the 580 in. I'm using the latest drivers. Whoa, wrong computer. So what I'm going to show you right now is the frequency. As you can see, the frequency from the factory on this 580 is 1411, but most 580s are 1366. So if you have a dual fan 580, it's going to be the same as this. So, but a higher temperature, but the frequency will be basically the same. As you can see on idle, the fans are not even turned on and it's 25 degrees. So it's ridiculous, the temperature that this 580 can get. But again, it won't affect the numbers because I'm using the same frequency as a dual fan version. So expect the same numbers on a dual fan 580. But yeah, last one is a 1650 Super, right? Yeah, I'm going to do 1050 Ti, then 1650 Super, and at the end probably the 750 Ti, or maybe the 750 Ti after the 580, because I know it's going to run pretty poorly, so it will be a very short test. But yeah, I'm launching the game now. Be patient guys. For some reason the game always launches in the native resolution, so the game launched at 4K. I mean, 4K is my native resolution in this monitor, but the game always launches in the native resolution. Sí, hablo español, por supuesto. Yeah, it's not an airbench actually. If you can see here, let me show you very quickly. Yeah, it's what's the name of this? It's a normal case, but it's open. So being open already makes a huge difference. But if it's closed, in this case, it doesn't make much of a difference because it's a huge card. So wait. It is what it is. Okay, let's go into the options. We select 1080p, like normal humans usually do. We're still not 4K ready. Display, yeah, TAA. And we're going to put textures on kind of run Crysis because we have 8 GB of video memory. Objects, let's put them on medium. That's usually a big hit in performance. And let's keep everything else like it comes, like this. No motion blur, thank you very much. Let's put this on high, whatever, at this point. Yeah, let's use high settings, including ray tracing. So we start with that. Ray traced high settings with kind of run Crysis textures. And let's see how it goes. But yeah, status 1080p, high settings, plus RT. So yeah, there's software ray tracing going on, made by Crytek. Yeah, this Vogue and the ray tracing, both things seem to be wrecking performance, yeah. Te quieres comprar el Red 2, tenés un i7 7700, 1060. Debería irlo más bien. Probarlo en una mezcla entre medio y bajo y debería llegar a 50, 60. No, en la 1060 no, capaz que 40. Pero sí, jugable. Con más de 8 GB de RAM debería estar bien. I have MSI Armor version, idle 1050C. It was running like a drone. Yeah, oh man. Yeah, that's the thing with the 580s. You need to at least have a dual fan card that has a good heatsink. But yeah, in my case I was lucky because I found a triple fan 580 for the price of a dual fan card. So yeah, okay. So with high settings here, load. Okay, can it run Crysis textures? Uses more than 8 GB of video memory, so do not use can it run Crysis textures. It's ridiculously demanding on the GPU, memory. So let's swap it to very high. So yeah. ¿Llegaste tarde? No, para nada. Llegaste justo a tiempo. So I already tested the 570. Okay, let me see. Okay, so if you put textures on Can It Run Crysis, make sure to have more than 8 GB of memory on the video memory. But yeah, right now with very high textures. We have 7 GB of usage on video memory and below 30 frames per second. So let's try ray tracing on performance without any motion blur. So its textures on very high, everything else on high, and ray tracing on performance. And okay, we're now getting 30 frames apparently, over 30. Let's see once we run around if it changes. But yeah, man, those stutters with the ray tracing enabled are super annoying. I mean, that kills the game for me. If you want to play with ray tracing, you get these big stutters. I mean, I don't know what to do about this. I have a 6-core 12-thread CPU. What do you want from me, Crysis? What do you want from me? Jesus Christ. I mean, look at this. If I disable the ray tracing, it's completely fine. As you can see, there's no those big stutters that destroy your enjoyment. As you can see. But with ray tracing, it just wrecks the performance. I mean, it makes sense. It's ray tracing on a card that does not have hardware ray tracing. But still, at least make it run consistently. Make it GPU demanding, but not a stuttery mess, at the very least. Maybe it's a thing with the AMD cards, who knows.
Low and slow. Intel suggests snipers and armored patrols up ahead. I'm moving out
But
to
that
secure
just
rendezvous
surprised me.
location. I'll keep you briefed. Nomad, I'll take the high ground.
No way.
Confirm when you're inside the village.
There's something I need to check before I continue. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I think there is reflections in the windshield. I can see the model of the character in the windshield. I'm not sure if that's the ray tracing feature or just a thing with the game. But it's weird to see your own reflection in the glass. Not sure if it's clear, but there's some sort of reflection in the windshield. Let me see if that has to do with ray tracing or not. Yeah, definitely. So with ray tracing on, there is a reflection of your character in the windshield. How subtle. Interesting. I wasn't expecting that. Let's put that on high. Let's see if the reflection is more noticeable. Yeah, there it is. Huh. What a weird thing to add. But it's a detail, I guess. Interesting stuff. Anyways, let's keep going. Now I have ray tracing enabled on performance. You can probably see the reflection of my character in the windshield. But still, those stutters, man, that's not looking good. Yeah, I'll play with the shaders again. Good thing. True. Let's try the shader trick. This is a trick I found by playing the game. The options menu sometimes breaks, and no matter the setting, you get terrible performance. So I found out by lowering shaders to low and then back to high, and then enabling ray tracing, fixes your performance sometimes. So let's see now if that works. Okay, we jumped from the 30s to the 40s, so definitely there was a difference. But I don't know why that works. It makes no sense at all. But it worked. So thanks for reminding me about that trick. Not sure what it does, but definitely works. So that's hilarious. Alright, shotgun ammo, thank you very much. Alright. Oh yeah, I think with the 580, the ray tracing seems to be a playable experience, at the very least. Oh man, I'm about to die. We're about to find out once we get to the tank level. That's probably going the tank level, the tank section, because this is the tank level. But yeah. Come on. There we go. Gotcha. Okay, not a single shot into place. Got you all. Oh, hello. Surprised to see you. Oh, nice, a grenade launcher. Wonderful. Alright, so now we're about to get to the village area. So, let's see if I zoom in. So I'll go to the top of this small hill and I can see the village from there. That would be great. That's what I wanted to do from the start. But yeah, with ray tracing it seems to be okay, even on vegetated areas. So probably for the 580, if you want the best visuals with ray tracing, try this, very high. Here, everything else on high, performance on ray tracing, and basically that's it. If you want 60s, maybe disable ray tracing. Maybe no. Disable ray tracing and put shaders on low, the rest on high. That should give you 60 frames. Let me see. Yep, there we go. So this is high settings with no RT. Let me change that. No RT. And low shaders. Beautiful. So this is my, at the moment I'm playing this part of the game, my 60 frames per second option. We'll see once we get to a more demanding thing, but yeah, it already dropped into the 50s, never mind. But yeah, at the moment this seems to be the best balance. Best balance if you want no ray tracing and smooth performance. I usually play Crysis for the graphics, so maybe you just want ray tracing. Well, there you go. You can do ray tracing on 580. Yeah, shotguns are short range, I forget that. Let's see, everything is okay. Come on, gotcha. Oh yeah, so far super smooth. Now that I understood the bug with the options menu, I can tweak the game finally. It was It was nice figuring it out. Alright, wonderful. So we pick this up. Okay, now I have a scope, so that's wonderful for benchmarking as well. As you can see, this scope right here is a reflex sight. If I change it for an assault scope, I can see very far into the distance.
Blowing up the pumps in that gas station would cause a nice distraction.
Okay, now I have the checkpoint. So this checkpoint is me starting in this place. So I have a rifle, I have a grenade launcher. This should be perfect for the testing. I can blow up that gas station. So let me now let me find the config file, the save data place. 1 second, guys. So I can grab this save and use it each time, so I can test the same thing over and over, because if not I have to restart the level. So it won't take long. Let me see if I can find it. It's not here. My games, Crysis. Not this one. Let's try updata. Maybe it's an updata. Not an updata. Alright. Not here anywhere. Maybe on saved games. Yeah, here it is. So if you guys want to find your save games for Crysis Remastered, it's here. It's on this PC users, well, the name of your user, saved games, Crysis Remastered. Here are the save files. So I'm going to back this up. Okay, there are quick saves for some reason. What a weird thing. Yeah, this has nothing. Okay, I'm going to save this into a backup folder. So I use it for the benchmarks. So we duplicate this and we put a shortcut in the desktop. Boom. So now when I want to back it up, I just copy and paste. So I have always the same place to save, basically. Yeah. So there it is. I copy this and let's go back to the game. So now I can do whatever I want with the game. I can repeat the same thing over and over. So that's a great thing for the benchmarks. So yeah, okay, for some reason now the game is at 4K. So let me put that back on 1080p. I don't know why the game does that. When I minimize it, it goes back to the native resolution of your monitor. So anyways, as I was saying, let's put this on high and then on low again. I don't know. Shaders here for some reason does that. Alright. So let's now go to the village. We're going right in. Let's see if we can get decent performance. Right. Okay, got them all. Easy, easy. GG. But yeah, I cannot save manually for some reason. That's why I had to take the save files and back them up. Okay, so here's the village. This village has a lot of destructible structures. So let's take advantage of that. On the Nintendo Switch version, I played this exact part. And here, when using the scope, it was like 20 frames per second. So I didn't use any scopes in the game. I had to do everything in a short range. So it's super interesting. Because here using the scope is no big deal. It's okay. So yeah, super interesting. So yeah, let's see. If I blow up the gas station, what's going to happen? What's going to happen if I blow up the gas station? Okay. Seems to be okay. Okay, I arrived at a checkpoint. Maybe this is a better checkpoint than the other one. Maybe on this one. I don't want to die, thank you. Thanks for the ammunition. I'll appreciate it. So let's destroy more buildings. Or I have to destroy the soldiers. Oh yeah, this should be the demanding part. Let's see, let's destroy this place. Okay, yeah, we definitely drop into the 50s. But I mean, this one that explosion happens. After that, this seems to be okay so far. But yeah, when I destroy the destructible buildings, it gets a big drop, yeah, like 10 frames less. But it appears to be enough to maintain over 50 FPS. So yeah, fair enough, I guess. So yeah, let's try now this, but with ray tracing. So I'm going to crank up the shaders to high, ray tracing to performance, because this was the 30 frames per second option. So this is height settings plus ray tracing on performance mode. So plus ray tracing on performance mode, beautiful. So yeah, Now we have high settings, very high textures, and ray tracing. Let's restart the checkpoint. Sorry about that. My English breaks at times. So yeah, here's the explosion, like before. Okay. Seems to be fine, even with ray tracing. So maybe this is the 30 frames per second target that you were looking for. If you were not looking for 30 frames with ray tracing on, well, you're in the wrong section of the video. Oh yeah, seems to be fine. Let's destroy the buildings. Alright. Bye bye, village. Dead. Oh, fail. Oh yeah, seems to be fine, even with ray tracing on. And the 570 with ray tracing drops into the upper 20s, so maybe medium to low settings plus ray tracing on that one. But yeah, seems to be fine. Even close to the vegetation, which is what wrecks the performance with ray tracing on. Whoa! Yeah, I forgot the mines. So yeah, I played with shaders. I already did that, so thanks for the reminder. But yeah, let's now try to destroy the game. Let's put everything on Can It Run Crysis, excepting the textures, because textures, you know how it goes. Uses more than 1 GB, so we put it on Can It Run Crysis, because why not? Very high. This don't go to Can It Run Crysis, but this go to very high, so let's try that with Can It Run Crysis. So can it run Crysis? I love that they put a meme after an option. So okay, this is Can It Run Crysis settings. Let me disable the motion blur because it's annoying as hell. There we go. So this is with full ray tracing options. So basically the highest settings, except in textures. Textures are not maxed out because video memory uses more than 1 GB. But yeah, as you can see on 1080p, with the highest settings, you get 20 frames per second. But yeah, you have the full ray tracing thing, the full software ray tracing implementation. So probably by lowering ray tracing to performance, it's enough to get 30 frames. Let's find out. Yeah, basically, I lowered ray tracing to performance, and it's back up. So we have the most basic ray tracing, but still ray tracing, and the rest is basically maxed out. It's probably going to drop with more vegetation because it's on Can It Run Crysis settings. But yeah, lowering ray tracing seems to be okay. Maybe this is the 30 frames option that you should choose. Either this or very high settings. Okay, with the mines exploding, the game doesn't seem to care. Oh yeah, there are more stutters. Again, ray tracing implementation seems to make stutter more apparent. Yeah. So what kills the game seems to be the ray tracing. No doubt about it. Still, I'm pretty impressed that we can do ray tracing, even if it's software ray tracing on an RX 580. So yeah. Anyways. Let's see what now. Let's try ray tracing on Can It Run Crysis, but this time at 720p, just to see if we can get at least over 30 frames. 1440p. I've got the wrong button. That's not what I wanted to do. 720p, thank you. Thank you, Crysis. You should be an actor? Nah, I'm not a good actor at all. I'm terrible at acting. I'm too honest to be an actor. So, okay, I'm gonna run Crysis at 720p. We get 30 frames per second, so let me restart the checkpoint so I have an explosion on screen. Alright. Yeah, if you want kind of run Crysis settings, consider 720p, but do not crank up the textures to run Crysis. To have textures on kind of run Crysis, you probably need 11 gigabytes of video memory or something. So yeah, crazy taxing. Ha! Did you understand that reference? But the draw distance is pretty good. So yeah, pretty impressed so far. Oh yeah, the stutter is pretty annoying, so if they fix the stutters with the ray tracing on, I think it should be completely playable. Completely playable, I mean with ray tracing on. I hit it with the car. Collateral damage. Sorry, dude. Okay. Let's swap now to the 750 Ti. This was at 720p, sorry about that. But yeah, it was at 720p on Can It Run Crysis. So if you want the highest settings, this is it. You can do that at 720p at over 30 frames. But if you want to have the best settings for 1080, you have this. So if you want best settings on 1080p, it will be, if you want 30 frames and ray tracing, which is what you usually try, put everything on very high. So very high, very high, very high. Textures as well, objects on high, and ray tracing on performance. This should be enough for 30 frames per second with some stutters due to the ray tracing. So yeah, let me show you here best settings for ray tracing. So if you want ray tracing, don't care about performance, just want some RT going on. This is it. But again, expect some stutters due to the ray tracing. Let's destroy some stuff. Why not? Boom, destruction. So yeah, this could be enough for 30 frames at the moment. When there's a lot of vegetation, it might drop into the low 30s, upper 20s. But again, not that bad. I think it's completely playable like this, if you care about ray tracing at all on the performance mode. Then if you want a smoother experience and you don't care about ray tracing, you want 60 frames. Let's put this best setting for 60. So this best setting for 60 would be no ray tracing whatsoever, shaders on low, and the rest on high. So you put everything on high, everything, everything, everything. I'm from Uruguay, so put everything on high. Maybe shadows, put it on medium. Shaders on low, no ray tracing, and that should be enough to get 60s, or 50 to 60 better said. It depends on what's going on screen. But yeah, as you can see now, I'm getting 50 to 60, even in this more taxing part, with multiple enemies, multiple destructible buildings. Let's restart the checkpoint so I can show you that. So now destruction, as you can see, destruction happens, drops into the 50s. But in general, oh, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to destroy this building. As you can see, much smoother by far. So this is my best settings for 580 would be this. If you care about the performance, and that's about it. I mean, in comparison to the original game, it's definitely using less CPU. It's not using all the cores, as you can see in the CPU thing, but it's using less CPU overall apparently. I mean, it's maxing out a single core, but I mean, it's still enough for 60 in general. Yeah, seems to be fine. So can you run Crysis? Yeah, you can. So let's now go to the NVIDIA side of things. So we're going to now remove the 580. So yeah, it's already released. It's only on the Epic Game Store. Unfortunately, it's an Epic exclusive at the moment. But who knows, maybe it comes to Steam later. But at the moment, you can only get it on Epic. So 1 second, guys, I'm going to swap GPUs. So 1 second. So I remove the pin connector. I remove the screw. And here comes the 580. The Strix version. Runs super cool, but I put the dual fan cards frequency, so it runs the same as a dual fan 580. And now I have the NVIDIA cards to test the 1050 Ti, 750 Ti and the 1650 Super. Since I know that the 750 Ti will probably need 720p or something like that, or maybe 1080p low, I'm going to test it first. It will be very quick, so we can see how it goes. This is below the minimum requirements, so let's do that. So we're going to do first that one because it's quick, then we do the 1050 Ti and the 1650 Super. I want to try this because it's below the minimum requirements, so it will be interesting to see how budget GPU from 2014 handles the game. 1660 Super, I no longer have it, so sorry. Thick. Yeah, of course. That's what I'm here for. Okay. Here we go. All right. What about 1050 Ti? I already told you. I finished with that. I go with 1050 Ti. I finished with that. I go with the 1650 Super. So yeah. Okay, we're back into the PC. We are now on the 750 Ti. As you can see here, 750 Ti. We're going to overclock it, 200 MHz to the core, 400 MHz to the video memory, so we can have a chance against Crysis. So as a little overclock for us to be able to play the game at least. I'm going to change the status to 750 Ti because it wouldn't make sense otherwise. GTX 750 Ti at, yeah, let's start with 1080p. Then we'll see what we can do. Probably not going to be even 30 frames, but who knows? I might be surprised. So yeah, this is a budget channel. Usually the fastest card I have is the 1650 Super and the 580. So I usually try to stay within that margin. But we're about to find out how it runs. This will be very quick. I mean, I don't expect much from this card, but we might be surprised. Who knows? Who knows? Super excited to see what it does. First thing what we have to do is put it on 1080p because the game for some reason launches at 4K. So fire alert. Okay, the capture card didn't like that, as you can see. Give me 1 second, guys. Turn it on, back on. Okay. Sometimes the capture card does that. It's hilarious because it looked like the graphics card died, but no, it's still here with us. So we're going to put everything on the minimum. So we start with the lowest settings, as you can see here, lowest settings. So 1080p lowest settings, TAA, because it makes the game look decent on my interpretation of decent. And this is 1080p low, so let's call it what it is. 1080p low, then we'll do 16. 1600 by 900, so 900p, then 720, and that will be about it. 1000 FPS, oh my god. But yeah, this will take a little bit longer. You should also benchmark with integrated graphics. This PC doesn't have integrated graphics, so you know, that's how it goes. Integrated graphics, yeah, the Ryzen 5 3600 doesn't have that. Can I ask your opinion? What is the best GPU for 2500K? Gonna overclock it? Probably a 580 or 1650 Super, I would say. They're pretty cheap at the moment. So, or a 570. Maybe a 570 makes more sense for the price range. But yeah, let's see. 750 Ti. Wish me luck. Oh man, not looking good. Okay. Let me try one thing before I continue. Let me try the trick that I did before. Let's put shaders on high and then put it back down on low. For some reason the options menu bugs like that. So we put it on low and let's see if that trick works again. Swapping the shaders from high to low. Yeah, it did. What the heck, it works. 50 frames per second on lowest settings. Okay. Well, mostly 40, but yeah. Let's reload the checkpoint, but there's a lot of stutter. It's probably the, what's the name of this? The video memory. But yeah, low settings seems to be okay. We can even do medium, I think. But yeah, it's running pretty good, considering the hardware. I mean, this is below the minimum requirements. The minimum requirements were a 1050 Ti, so pretty impressed. I mean, considering it's a budget GPU from 2014. Not bad. Let's explode some stuff. Let's wreak some havoc. Okay, not bad. Let's get away from here. I'm not going to put the RPG on the face. Oh, I'm so dead. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, pretty impressive considering the hardware. I mean, this is a GPU from 2014 that was $150. Remember that the graphics card is also overclocked, so that helps. But yeah, I'll try medium settings. Let's try that out. So we're going to put shaders on. Let's put shaders on low. The rest on high, because these options didn't seem to make much of a much of a performance difference. So we put it on high, shaders on low, and then the rest, like shadows, on medium. Let's see if that gives us at least 30 frames. Okay, to be expected. That was too high. Let's put it on medium. So yeah, medium settings, physics on medium as well. So maybe these are the best settings, who knows. Nope, still below 30. So yeah, probably low settings is the way to go. Let's try low shadows, and I'll try the trick with the shaders again. It's pretty good at Crysis. No, I'm playing on easy mode. Don't get confused. I'm not good at Crysis. If I played on normal, it would die. I would die instantly. Okay, it worked again. So put the game on medium settings. If the performance is below 30 frames, put shaders on high, then put it on low. For some reason that makes the game run correctly. So let's call this 1080p mid. So there we go. Okay. So yeah, medium settings seems to be the best. Yeah. Medium settings, low shaders. Let's restart the checkpoint so we have some explosions going on. Yeah. Yeah, this should be the best settings because when you're close to foliage, it's not going to get through. So let's get into the foliage. Yeah, the draw distance is not great. That is pretty good. Decent enough in my opinion. Considering again, this is an old GPU. Even with foliage in my face, it's alright. Okay, wonderful. Boom. So yeah, this is with the overclock in place, so let's try it without overclock, so you guys can see the numbers. So no overclock, we turn that off, and we get back into the game. Yeah, what the F? Literally, what the F? Okay, the game is now going to put itself at 4K again. For some reason, when you minimize the game, it goes to your native resolution. Super weird behavior, but hey, whatever. Let's do this. 1080p. Okay, 1080p. Alright, so on 1080p, on medium settings, low shaders. That's right, on medium shaders. Why not? It's probably going to wreck the frame rate, but hey. Yep. So we put it again on high. We put yes, and then we drop it to medium again. That's probably going to fix the frame rate, who knows? Or maybe not. Okay, it made it to 30, but we wanted 30 something. Okay, so yeah, basically these are my best settings for the 750 Ti. Low shadows, or maybe medium shadows. Okay, medium shadows. So everything on medium, shaders on low. That is my best settings. So everything on medium, shaders on low. Yeah, those are the settings for the 750 Ti, a card that is below the minimum requirements. So yeah, just do that. If you get bad numbers, just put shaders on high, then put them back on low. For some reason that fixes the performance. So yeah, not sure what's up with that, honestly. But hey, if it works, it works. Okay. Whoa, I forgot the mines. Oh yeah, this is actually amazing. I wasn't even expecting playable frame rates on 1080p. So playable frame rates, I mean on the 750 Ti, a budget card from 2014. I mean, this card was released when this game wasn't even in development. So yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Okay. Let's drop to 900p now. Now let's directly do 720. Why not? So at 720p, because 900p will be a small boost in performance, won't be a huge difference. Let's do 720p so we can get rid of this quickly. So same settings as 1080p, medium everything except in textures and shaders. So we do that, we apply it, yeah. And remember, put shaders on high, apply the settings. So do that, put shaders on high, apply it, then put shaders on low. And we were at 47, let's see now. And now we're at 60. I don't get it. It's so weird. And it's broken, my feed is broken. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, the capture card decided to die. So sorry about the tiny interface. I'm not immortal. I'm in the lowest difficulty setting. But yes, I was saying. So if you use those settings, if you don't want 1080p, you just want performance, do 720p. 720p medium with low shaders, and you get 50 to 60. So yeah, you can do that. But yeah, seems to be fine. Oh yeah, I'm not immortal, I'm in the lowest difficulty setting, because you know, speed running and showing frame rates. ¿Para cuándo los 3090? Para cuando sea millonario. Si Nvidia quiere mandar una, a mí no me molestaría. But yeah, that bug in the options menu with the shaders is hilarious. But yeah. Okay, enough 750 Ti. I think this is fine. You probably can do high settings at 720. So yeah, we are done with this one. Let's get to the next one, the 1650 Super. No, let's do the 1050 Ti first. I know that one is the most acclaimed card in my channel. So let's swap to that one. We already did the 570 and the 580, so let's do the 1050 Ti now. So we change the status to 1050 Ti. 1050, not 1080. I wish. 1080p. And we'll see how it goes. So 1 second, guys. Going to swap the graphics card. Here lies the 750 Ti, the card I purchased in 2014. Still playing games, amazing. Below the minimum requirements. Now we're going with the 1050 Ti. This is the minimum requirements from Crysis Remastered, which apparently wasn't that accurate. So let's go do it. So yeah. Now we are launching the PC with the 1050 Ti. ¿Qué es eso de AMD Ryzen Master en tu escritorio? Ryzen Master. Esto es la caja del Ryzen 5. This is the box from the CPU, the Ryzen 5 3600. I have it there just as to have something in the background that is not my messed up bed. That's basically what I'm doing. So yeah, they're literally blind in this difficulty. Yeah, that's the point. The point is to show the performance as much as possible and not get killed every 5 seconds. So yeah, now we're back into the PC with the 1050 Ti. Let's show you that. We're on MSI Afterburner. As you can see, 1050 Ti. There it is. So let's launch the game once more. Here we go again. Gracias, Alan G320, me alegro. Para eso están. Tell me about the RX 570. The RX 570 did pretty well. By using high settings, low shaders, we got 45 to 60. So if you lower a couple extra things, you should easily get 60 frames with some drops into the 50s. But yeah. Yeah, and the 570 was great. Yeah, 1050 Ti. Sí, pregunta a Johan. Si lo logro leer. What is meant by shader? It's an option in the options menu of the game. It's an option called shader. So let's first select 1080p because the game always launches at 4K in my PC. ¿Cómo haces para que el audio suene tan bien? ¿Qué audio? ¿Mi voz o el juego en sí? So now we're going to select high. If you go past high, you won't have enough video memory. Objects, let's put it on medium because it's taxing on both the CPU and GPU. Shadows on high, physics on high, shaders, let's start with them on high, just for now. No ray tracing, thank you very much. The rest on high. So yeah, let's start with high settings, just to set high-ish settings, better said. No motion blur. And let's go back to the campaign options. And we continue from the explosion from before. It's an option called shader, yeah. Basically. It's an option called shader. Shader option is bugged. Yeah, it's bugged. Did you already test max settings with these GPUs? On the 750 Ti I didn't, but on the 570 and 580 I did put the game on the kind of run Crysis settings, except in textures, and it was below 30 frames all the time, so no way you're using that with ray tracing on. But yeah. El de mi voz, estoy usando un micrófono Blue Yeti, debe ser por eso. Para eso lo compré. Try with no anti-aliasing. The anti-aliasing here is TAA. The performance hit is small, very small, and the game looks very... It doesn't look jaggy at all. So my advice is to keep the TAA solution. Before doing anything, my advice for this game to you guys is put shaders on low. Okay, so you got that. Put shaders on low. No matter what graphics card you're using, then put it on high. Beautiful. Okay, and now the game runs like it should. So if you're playing even on a high-end GPU and you want to put kind of run Crysis, put it on high, apply the settings, and then try it again. So I'm going to put shaders on low this time around. And let me lower the shadows a little bit. I'm trying to get 30 frames. I'm not super demanding with this. So okay. So high settings with what? With shaders on low. Yeah, basically. So this is 1080p high with shaders on low, which is an option over here, the magical option that is broken at the moment. So let's go back and restart the checkpoint. So it started the explosion. Okay, there's some stutter, as usual. Let's see. Alright. Yeah, I'd say these are the best settings for 30 frames right now. There are many enemies shooting at me. There's... what else? Well, I can do some destruction to keep the flame going on my PC. So yeah, some physics. Let's destroy now this building. Sure, why not? Still over 30, no issues whatsoever. So yeah, this is basically the minimum requirements you can use for this game. And as you can see, by just using high settings, medium object detail, and low shaders, seems to be fine for 30 frames. So yeah, I'll probably use this as the best visuals option, because ray tracing is going to wreck this graphics card. I mean, let's try that out. Let's put the... Unfortunately, to enable ray tracing, you need to have shaders at least on high. So if we try ray tracing on this card, it's not going to be pretty. So yeah, now we have ray tracing on. So yeah, as you can see, yeah, it's 30 frames per second, but it easily drops below that number. We get a stutter, so yeah, you can do it. Personally, I would just disable ray tracing and enjoy the game. Maybe on 900p this is a better thing. Oh yeah, upper 20s, low 30s. Ray tracing. Let's restart the checkpoint for that. Okay, I mean, this is the minimum requirements GPU, and you can do performance ray tracing plus high settings. Oh yeah, I think it's not bad considering the hardware. But yeah, it requires a beefy GPU for ray tracing at more than 30. Still, it's playable, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't use this configuration. So let's now do 900p. So we're going to change to 900p. This is probably enough for 30 frames plus ray tracing. So we're changing to 900p. So 900p, 9000p, no, 900p. The game is a little loud, I agree. A lot of shooting going on. Let's go to minus 18 decibels. Thank you for pointing that out. So now I'm using 900p high settings, medium objects, and performance ray tracing. So let's do that on 900p. So we restart the checkpoint. And let's see. Okay, 30 frames per second. Yeah, basically. And I'm basically wrecking havoc. So yeah, not bad. So if you want ray tracing on the 1050 Ti, apparently you can do it. What are you doing, sir? Let's try the trick of disabling the the shaders and enabling them again. So first we put it on off, low, then we put it on high, and then we put it on performance ray tracing. Let's see if that works. Come on. Yeah, again, 30 frames. So the performance was the correct one. So yeah, if you want ray tracing, whoa, I forgot about the mines. If you want ray tracing on the 1050 Ti and you don't care about the frame rates, do 900p high settings. Oh, sorry about that. 900p high settings, medium object detail, and basically these are the settings for 30 frames with ray tracing. Let's try 720p by cranking up the ray tracing. I'll try 60 frames in a bit. Give me some time. So we put everything on high, 720p. So we go back to 720. So this is 720p high with high ray tracing. And we'll restart checkpoint once more. And yeah, basically 40 frames. It's okay. It's 720p after all. So yeah. Yeah, for a minimum requirement PC, minimum requirement GPU is completely fine. Yeah, there's destruction, there is basically everything. Yeah, we got the whole package. So for the funsies, let's go for Can It Run Crysis, but at 720p. Because let's be real here. So we put it on the maximum. Can it run Crysis? Probably. But not at this. Not like this. So can it run Crysis? I know it's not fully maxed out because object quality and textures, but hey, it's 720p after all. And yeah, 20s, upper 20s, low 30s. That's fine. It's almost the highest setting, so fine. It's on maximum ray tracing as well, so makes sense. Let's do it on 1080. Just for the sake of it, let's have some fun. So 1080p now. Okay, so on 1080p, of course it wasn't going to be super nice, and it isn't. I'm going to first try the trick of disabling the shaders and enabling them back on. By that I mean you put shaders on high. This trick works. I don't know why it works, but it works. So you put it on high and then you put it into the setting that you desire. So for some reason this option is bugged out. Okay, perfect. So 1080p, can it run Crysis? So let's find out. Yeah. Cinematic 15 frames per second. So no. On 1080p do not use Can It Run Crysis on a 1050 Ti. It's not nice. But it's fun to be able to try it. I mean, it's a meme setting, so of course we had to try it. But yeah, no wonder no card at 4K can run it with these settings at 30 frames per second. But yeah. Yeah, slow mode on. RT on versus RT off, I see no difference. Well, good. Then you don't need to enable it. So let's now try lowering the settings. No ray tracing, shaders on low, physics on low. I won't change much really. Let's put it on medium. Shadows on low, volumetrics on low, 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 low. Everything low. Let's see if we can just get 60 frames in some way or another. Watch out, the PC might burn. Yeah. After this I'm doing the 1650 Super, so be patient guys. I'm doing my best. Let me change the status first of all. This is 1080p low settings. Whoa. So this is low settings 1080p, beautiful. As you can see it here. Before doing anything, again, let's put the shaders on high. We apply the settings. I know this sounds ridiculous, but it worked multiple times. And then put it back to the setting that you want and apply the settings. For some reason this gave me a performance boost each time. It never fails. Yeah, now I'm getting 60s. What the heck? It works. So, okay, 50 to 60 is 1080p low, basically. 50 to 60, just go to low settings. So, like the system requirements said, this is the minimum requirement GPU, which I think is way off the mark, if I'm honest. This I think is the minimum requirement GPU for 1080p 60 on low settings. Because the 750 Ti, which is almost half the frame rate as this one, run the game. So definitely, I mean, if you have the 1050 Ti, even the 750 Ti, you can run the game just fine. Even on low settings, the game is looking pretty decent. It's not like Crysis 2007 that you put low settings and it looks like worse than Far Cry 1. Here the game actually looks good in low settings. I mean, look at these shadows. And this is the minimum. I mean, the low settings of Crysis Remastered look amazing. I mean, it's pretty insane. So yeah. Yeah, ray tracing on low settings, ray tracing doesn't work. Ray tracing works using shaders on high or higher. So the only way to put ray tracing if you have shaders on high. So let's try that. Let's try low settings with ray tracing. So low settings plus shaders high plus RT. So here, if you want ray tracing no matter what, on 1080p, you can do this. But you drop from 60 to 39. So yeah, completely playable. But again, I'd rather, if I wanted ray tracing, I'd rather do high settings with 900p, with the performance shaders, with the performance ray tracing. And that'll be about it. Whoa, I always forget that mine. Apágalo, Otto, apágalo. Turn it off, Otto, turn it off. Yeah, a Spider-Man, the Spider-Man movie reference, Spider-Man 2. Turn it off, Otto, turn it off. Yeah, I'm going to melt down this PC, man. But yeah, I mean, as long as you go for low settings on 1080p, you can do 60s, so there you go. Let me very quickly put, what's the name of this? No ray tracing, no shader on low. And I mean, yeah, these are the best settings. I mean, if you want 60 frames, yeah, low settings. There's no ray tracing here though, so this is basically low settings. Nothing more, nothing less. Just good old low settings that look amazing, considering it's low settings. I mean, look at this. Again, just look at the vegetation, the shadows, the draw distance. I mean, look at these shadows. This is low settings, are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. In a good way. Let me see if I can destroy this bridge. No, I cannot. Be gone. Yeah, even from a distance, even looking at this place from a distance, let me see with a scope. Yeah, just fine. It will be interesting to compare the low settings of this game with the Nintendo Switch settings to see if it's lower than this or higher. Probably lower than the low settings on PC. But yeah, super interesting. Wasn't expecting this at all, to be honest. Yeah, although the shadows still look amazing. I mean, look at this. Look at these shadows while I'm getting shot at. They look amazing, although, considering the hardware. Even look at, you have your own shadow as well. Oh yeah, remember I'm playing on easy, to get easily to this place. And this guy is seated on a turret. Gotta love those bugs. But yeah. Can I run Crysis? Yes, definitely. I mean, I probably, if I had this GPU as my fastest one, I'd probably play on low settings for the 60 frames. I mean, the game still looks very good. Yeah, I'm probably missing some reflections and stuff. But I mean, if I only care about performance, there's no reason not to select low settings. Still looks pretty good. Let me see if there are still reflections. Yeah, there's still cube maps, I think. Or is it screen space reflections? Let me check. Yeah, there are some... I don't know if this is a reflection or not. Yeah, apparently there are no reflections. Yeah. But there's even the water ripples, the caustics. Oh, look at that detail. I mean, and this is low settings. With medium object detail, but low settings. Super impressed, really. Super impressed. Anyways, let's swap to the 1650 Super now. So we do that. So 1650 Super at 1080p. That's what I'm going to start with. Y tú editas el audio, solamente lo dejas como está por defecto. Lo dejo como está por defecto. No le cambio nada. Le subo un poco la ganancia para no tener que hablar fuerte. Pero sí. No lo edito. Okay guys, now I'm going to swap to the 1650 Super. Give me 1 second. My headphones are the RTX 3 from SteelSeries. They have Bluetooth and they can be used with a wire as well. So, best of both worlds, I would say. So yeah, RTX 3, they're called. So, swapping graphics card, 1 second. So here's the 1050 Ti I just used. Let's put it to the side. We're going to put the 1650 Super in. So we put the card and we connect the 6-pin cable. There you go. And it's alive. Or is it? Alright. Yeah. We know that the helicopter scene and the final boss are the most demanding parts, but they are the a sore thumb basically, because most of the game doesn't run like the final boss and the helicopter section. So I understand I have to put a stress test, but I think that's too much of a stress test in a way that it's not a representation of most of the game. So I just went to a place with a lot of destructible things and many enemies and effects. So a big shootout going on. That's more of a realistic scenario, I would say. So yeah. So, okay, we're back into the PC now with MSI Afterburner. And we have the 1650 Super, as you can see. There it is. So let's give it a try. Crysis Remastered. Here we go. What's the best overclock settings for the 1650 Super? Can you show? I managed to boost it to 1900 megahertz, but it dropped after a few degrees of extra temperature. So with this small card, I cannot get a good overclock on it. So yeah, keep that in mind. ¿Cómo inicia tan rápido la PC? Porque tengo un SSD. I'm using an SSD, that's why the PC boots so fast. SSD, guys. You should have one, at least a tiny SSD to put the Windows version there. The operating system. Your PC can boot that fast. How long are you going to keep the 580 in your collection? I don't know. It all depends on future graphics cards. So let's put textures on high as usual. Objects on high, shadows on high. Let's put everything on high. Let's put ray tracing as well. Why not? So high, 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 high. There we go. So high settings, no motion blur. And let's get back into the game now. But yeah. Yeah, SSD is the man, crying HDD. Well, my first SSD was 120 gigabytes, and I had a 1 terabyte hard drive next to it, so Windows booted on the 120 gigabyte SSD. My games were on my hard drive, and it was very cheap. So yeah. Yeah, SSD is the one true religion. Finally, the consoles are getting SSDs. That's what makes me the most excited about the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and Series S. That they have all SSDs, so games are now going to take advantage of the fast I/O. But yeah, 9800 GT? No, not yet. I cannot afford a 9800 GT. Sub to NVMe SSD a few weeks ago. Super noticeable difference. Yeah, true. Well, I'm using an SSD on the M.2, but it's an SSD, not NVMe. And as you could see, the PC booted super fast. I just press the button and I'm there. Okay, so give it a few seconds to adjust. In the meantime, I'm going to put the trick, shaders on low. So I put yes, shaders on low. Then we put shaders on high. And boom, we should have the best performance possible. Okay, and we put ray tracing on performance. Now let's put it on high. We have nothing to lose by putting the ray tracing on high. Okay, perfect. So the status will be 1080p, high plus high RT. So this is ray tracing plus high ray tracing plus high settings, as you can see over here. So yeah, here we go. Wish me luck. Let's restart the checkpoint. Alright. It's running much better than the 580. I can tell you that for a fact now. The 580 needed the ray tracing on performance mode to get 30 frames, if I remember correctly. But again, what bothers me so much about ray tracing in this game so far are those big stutters, especially when you first load the game. There are huge stutters that are not present with ray tracing enabled, so yeah. That's my only gripes with the ray tracing option. But yeah, seems to be okay. So yeah, this should be the best configuration. Maybe not the best for 30 frames. We can probably crank it up a little bit higher. But yeah, before that, let's bump it up a little bit. Let's try very high settings. So we put it on very high, even the shaders and the ray tracing. Hopefully we can get good numbers now. Wish me luck, guys. It's going to explode. Hopefully not. Okay, okay. So shaders, we put them on low, and then we put it back on very high, like we did last time, because for some reason that cranked up the performance. Alright, so very high, everything. Okay, 30 frames. It's not going to last long. So let's put it on very high. Everything here is on very high, except in the object detail and the textures. So let's get back into the game. And we're getting, okay, low 30s, upper 20s. Yeah, this is not what I would recommend. I mean, still pretty impressive considering the GPU I'm using. This is a 1650 Super. It's not an expensive GPU in any way. Okay, now we're stuck at 30 with some drops into the 20s. Yeah, definitely these are not the best settings. So I'm going to just lower the shaders and the ray tracing to high, and that should be enough to get us 30 frames. So yeah, let's put this on high. High RT, very high settings, and high shaders. Oh, it's not doing worse than the 580. The 580 is doing a little bit worse than this. And the 580 was not getting these numbers with ray tracing, as far as I remember. Maybe confusing it with the 570, but the 580, to get 30 frames with ray tracing, I needed high settings and performance mode. If I didn't do that, I wasn't going to get 30 frames. So definitely runs better on the 1650 Super, I can tell you that for a fact. I just tried it. Here I can do very high and high ray tracing, and it's over 30 just fine. So definitely this is running better on the Nvidia side. At least right now. Whoa. To be honest, it just looks like a Far Cry 3. Well, you need to put some glasses then. Oh yeah, Far Cry 3 still looks great though. Don't get me wrong, but this is completely different. Anyways. Let's try cranking it up now to kind of run Crysis, but on the options that are not ray traced. So we put it on kind of run Crysis, except on the ray traced stuff, and except on the textures, because you need more than 8 GB of video memory for that. Alright, so can it run Crysis plus high ray tracing? So this is the settings now. So textures on high, objects on high. This is as high as it goes, so very high, kind of run Crysis on the other options, high ray tracing, and high object detail. So this is as far as I can go on this card. And we're getting, let's restart the checkpoints. We're getting over 30. Yeah, so this is definitely faster than the 580, no doubt about it. The 580 was not getting 30s with this configuration, not at all. Whoa. So yeah, pretty interesting. Yeah, the shader play, I already did that. The shader play was already done. Yeah. Come on. Yeah, it seems to be okay with the hand run Crysis settings. Okay, never mind. It drops into the 30s when I get close to the foliage. This is the ray tracing doing its absurdly bad job at keeping up the frame rate. So let's disable ray trace. Let's put it on performance instead of disabling it. Maybe we can get over 30 that way. Yeah, definitely. So definitely you should put the performance ray tracing. So if you want 30 frames on 1080, with the best visuals possible. You should put it on, can it run Crysis, except in on textures. So let me show you, it's easier. So if you want 30 frames with the best graphics possible, do 1080p, TAA, high textures, high objects, shadows, physics and shaders on can it run Crysis, Raytracing on performance, vegetation, water and particles on can it run Crysis, post-processing, game effects and volumetric effects on very high, because it's the highest setting on those. And that should be enough for 30 in this more dynamic level. Dynamic I mean because it has more destructible stuff. But again, with ray tracing on, the game likes to stutter pretty often, especially when you're running using the fast mode. With the I am speed mode. But yeah. Thanks for the grenades, enemies. I wanted more destruction. But yeah, so far seems to be completely a-okay. Even with explosions on the screen and physics. Oh yeah, those stutters, super annoying. Out of all the cards you tested in the stream, which one performed the best? So far, the 1650 Super performed the best. The 580 was able to put the textures on very high, which is a noticeable difference. But on the settings side of things, the 1650 Super was the fastest of all the cards I tested today. So let's now put everything on high. On very high. Very high should be fine for 60 frames, I think, considering the numbers I just saw. Very high should do the job for 60 frames, who knows? We're about to find out. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere. So very high, except in shaders. Alright, let's see. Okay, not enough, so let's put it on high. Especially when you crank it up higher, the 1650 Super was better, but when targeting 60 they are pretty similar. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you still need shaders on low for 60 frames. So that's similar to the 580. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're targeting 60, it's the same settings as the 580. If you're targeting 30, you can go way past the 580 on the settings. So that's pretty strange, I must admit. And again, you can do the trick of putting shaders on high, like I'm doing right now, apply the settings, and then put it on low, the shaders, and you get a massive performance boost sometimes. As you can see, now I was at 53, I jumped to 64. So weird. So the settings now are high settings. So this is high settings plus low shaders. That's basically it. These are the best settings for the 580, 570, 1650 Super, and probably the 1060 as well. It depends on the game, Viper X. In some games the 580 is faster, in some others the 580 is very close, and in others it's the other way around. It all depends. If a game is very pro Nvidia, like most Unreal Engine 4 games, it's going to be faster than the 580. But in more middle ground games that do not benefit one company or the other, they are very similar. Personally, I would still go for the 580 due to the video memory alone. We have 8 GB. On the 1650 Super there is only a 4 GB version, so that's my only issue with the 1650 Super. We only have 4 GB of memory, so for how long that's going to be enough, no way to know. But I mean, this one with ray tracing on, it was faster than the 580 using the ray tracing. That's for sure. Bye bye. Explodey, explodey. What's your personal GPU? I'm using both the 1650 Super and the 580. It depends on what I'm doing, so yeah. Whoa! That explosion. Muchas gracias, Hiro, por la Generosa donación de 2500 CRC, que disculpa que no tengo ni idea qué moneda es. Muchísimas gracias por tu generosa donación, son como 180 pesos uruguayos, es un montón de plata, muchísimas gracias por la donación, para mí por lo menos es un montón de dinero. Te agradezco un montón, siempre estás ahí en los comentarios tratando de ayudar. Me caes de todo. Ah, el mejor que te caigo, bueno, muchas gracias. Al menos una parte de la cena de este viernes. Bueno, muchas gracias. Se agradece muchísimo por la donación. Is there a draw distance option? Yeah, there is one. Pero sí, se agradece un montón la donación. Muchísimas gracias, man. So, as I was saying, yeah, there's a draw distance option. It's the object's quality. I'm going to crank it up in a minute. But first, these are the best settings. Colones de Costa Rica. Genial, se agradece un montón. Cualquier donación es apreciada, pero te pasaste. Te pasaste. What is the visual difference with shader settings? That's a good question. I'm not entirely sure, but if you go below high shaders, you cannot enable ray tracing. So it probably has something to do with ambient occlusion. Probably has something to do with that. Let's find out. Let's take a look at this. Probably if I put shaders higher, it's going to be darker. So let's find out. It's hard to tell without looking it side by side, but yeah, I don't see much of a difference, honestly. I think the color changes. We need to wait for the digital foundry analysis to know exactly what this do, but I know that they changed the performance, so yeah. ¿Por qué no hago videos en español? Porque no son populares en español, lamentablemente. Yeah, I'm not seeing much of a difference. Lowering it to low. Maybe something to do with ambient occlusion, but I cannot tell you for sure because I haven't done any comparisons yet. I just know that I get more frames, so that's what I care about at the moment. But in the previous games it had something to do with ambient occlusion and other visual stuff. Is this on Steam? Not yet. I'm not sure if it will come to Steam, but at the moment it's only on the Epic Games Store. So guys, now I'm going to try the absolute maximum settings. So I'll put the textures, excepting textures, because I don't have enough video memory for that. But I want to put the draw distance completely uncapped and no ray tracing. So let's try everything on the highest, but no highest ray tracing. I didn't try objects quality maxed out yet. So this will be interesting, because the draw distance should be basically unlimited. That's what they said, I'm not sure. So yeah, let's put it on. Can it run Crysis on 1080p? So as you can see, it's can it run Crysis, but with, oh, I forgot, plus no ray tracing because I'm still a pleb, so no RT. And after that, we're going to try it with ray tracing. But I want to see that draw distance, that sweet draw distance. So we continue. So wish me luck. Hopefully the PC doesn't explode. Just cover your face. Speaks Español too? Yes, Uruguay is a Spanish speaking country. A Latin Spanish speaking country. I thought you had like a 2090, 2080 Ti. No, I don't. I don't need that. I might get one soon if I can afford it to do faster renders, but I don't really need one. Big fan. Well, thanks, man. Thanks, Reflex Doctor. Come on, load. Man, if it explodes, I swear. Just cover your eyes. ¿Te gusta el emulador PCX2? Sí, por supuesto. Alright, so this is the highest settings, but no ray tracing. Let me disable motion blur, I'm so sorry. It makes the game look like a blurry mess. And let's get away. Okay, so on maximum settings without ray tracing, we're getting upper 20s. But I can see everything into the distance. Everything that I do not care about. Let's try the shader trick, which was... the shader trick is a bug in the options menu. Just put shaders on high and then put it on the option that you desire. That's usually how you debug fix the option. In this case, it seems to be running correctly. Yeah, we're still getting upper 20s. So yeah, here the game is basically with unlimited draw distance. That's what I understand, from my minor understanding on how the game works. We're going to try and see the base from the top of the hill. That was a place with a long draw distance. Oh man, yeah, look at that. I mean, I look into the distance and the game dies. That's so hardcore. So unnecessary. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Alright, so now this is the screenshot that Crytek made about the draw distance. Yeah, I mean, even with binoculars, I can see the shadows of the individual enemies. What the heck? That's insane. You can see even the shadows of the individual NPCs. That's crazy. Even just in the binoculars, there are shadows of the trees there, out in the distance. This is so unnecessary. So unnecessary. But I love that the option is here. That's great. So unnecessary. I can see the enemy patrols over there. Maybe you cannot see it due to the compression, but there's so much detail into the distance. Holy hell. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you do not need to put objects on kind of run Crysis. I mean, you can see very, very far away with shadows and everything, but it's so unnecessary considering the performance hit. Let's put also ray tracing on the maximum just to finish killing my PC. So yeah, so unnecessary. But let's do it. Let's do it. This is what Crysis was made for. Balls to the wall. Okay, so this is the absolute maximum settings, except in textures, because video memory. And we're getting a cinematic 17 to 18 frames per second, basically. With an amazing draw distance. I mean, look at that. And to put it more on the on the crazy side to finish the stream, let's put the game at 4K. Let's just execute the graphics card. So single digits. Here we go. Alright. So here we go. Turn it off, turn it off. Okay, so now it's 4K maximum settings plus ray tracing. So it's going, I'm killing my PC. So this is 4K max settings. This is what people want, I think. The only thing that is not maxed is the... Whoa, okay. The only thing that is not maxed is the textures. But yeah, this is on at 4K. And we are getting 7 frames per second. But I wanted to show you something before that, because my capture card can do 4K, which means that I can zoom in and you can see the detail into the distance. So I did 4K only for that reason alone, so I can zoom in and show you the draw distance, because the draw distance is absolutely insane. So let's zoom in and look at that detail into the distance. I'm not sure if you can see that, but we're very far away from that base. Look at the size of the weapon. I mean, look at that. Look at that slow thing. You can even see shadows of the buildings, shadows of the of the palm trees. I mean, the draw distance is ridiculous on the maximum settings. As you can see, even the trees have shadows at this distance. I mean, it's crazy far away. And if I zoom in, that thing that is very far away still has shadows. Let me see if I can find the enemy. Let's shoot. Super slow, 7 frames per second. Yeah, I see no enemies here. I see nothing. Oh, never mind. There's one enemy over there. Let's try to kill him. Oh yeah, I'm trying to hit him. Come on. Can I get a kill at 7 frames per second? Yeah, the enemy, even the AI seems to be broken at 7 FPS. But I cannot kill him. But yeah, I mean, look at that. That's insane, man. The draw distance in this thing. I can even see the shadows on the enemies. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I cannot for the life of me get a kill from this distance. There's even physics at this distance. So yeah, you can see the detail, the amount of detail that you can get with the maximum settings in the draw distance department. Even that rock all the way over there is ridiculous. Nobody needs that, honestly, but it's fun that we can do it if we want. I mean, look at the zoom I had to do for you to see the detail at 4K. That's the size, the incredible size of a 4K resolution on a 1080p screen. I mean, I had to zoom in that far for you to see the details. So yeah, 7 frames per second, 4K max settings, ray tracing on a 1650 Super. If you want to see how it runs on a 570, 580, 1650 Super, 1050 Ti and 750 Ti, rewind the live stream. I'm going to put a lot of, what's the name of this? A lot of timestamps once the live stream finishes processing, so you can skip to whatever you want. But yeah, that's basically the stream on Crysis Remastered. I'm going to do the individual videos as usual. Somebody asked for low settings 4K. I'll do that and finish the live stream. So let's go for low. This will take a little longer, sorry guys. Give me 1 second. Well, we can try 4K with the maximum draw distance, but that still kills the graphics card, so I probably need to restart the PC, the game. So 4K low. I cannot change the draw distance inside of the game itself, which is unfortunate. So yeah, let's put it on low here. Excuse me. So this is low plus highest draw distance. Because why not? Let's give it a try. Okay, we're getting cinematic 24 FPS. So yeah, we can still see the enemy into the distance, very far away, but we have no shadows at that distance due to the shadow setting. But yeah, I can still see the enemy, and still for the life of me cannot get a single shot in. So yeah, 4K. I think if I lower the draw distance it would be closer to 30, but I don't expect it to be maintaining 30 frames anytime soon. So yeah, interesting. My GPU temperature, what is it? Is good question. I think it's 75 degrees Celsius because this is a tiny graphics card, one of the cheaper ones. But at that temperature you can still maintain over 1800 megahertz, so it's okay. But yeah, even on low the game looks pretty good. Again, as I showed you on the 1050 Ti. So probably 1080p. I mean 4K is probably doable with this graphics card. So yeah. Anyways, that's about it guys. That's the live stream. I hope you enjoyed. It will be published with timestamps so you can skip to whatever you want. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this live stream and I'll see you next time. Bye guys. I'll do more resolutions in separate videos, don't worry. I'll be doing 900p and 720p later. But yeah, that's it. See you guys next time. Bye bye. Thank you.